Hello and welcome back to Simon's Rants. I'm Simon, and today I'm going to be explaining Dream Scenario. If you haven't seen Dream Scenario, which if you haven't, you should watch it before you watch this video or you have no idea what I'm talking about, it follows a man played by Nicolas Cage named Paul, who inexplicably is showing up in everybody's dreams. At first, he is just a casual bystander in horrific things happening, and then that eventually progresses to him being the bad guy in these dreams, causing the bad things to happen, and then eventually we see one case of him being the good guy in somebody's dream. I believe that there's a lot of things in this movie that are left up to your own interpretation. So before I get into that, I'm going to talk about the objective truths about this movie first, the facts about this movie first, and that is that Paul, the Nicolas Cage character, is somewhat of a loser. He's very forgettable. Nobody really knows much about him. Nobody really thinks about him. He's as forgettable as possible. He's not a very interesting person, and he's wanting to be. He's striving to be. He wants to be more than he is. He wants to get published. He wants to be as good as the people around him. He wants to be liked. He wants to be loved even. He wants to be considered funny, intelligent, all these things, and no matter what he does, he is rejected from that attention and from that desire that he craves. That is until these dreams start happening, and then all of a sudden now he's got more attention than he could possibly have ever asked for. Now he is the most talked about man, the most interesting man in the world. People from all over the world that have never met him before now want to know everything about him. People are so interested that they are breaking into his house to try and kill him. He is a full-blown celebrity and he didn't do anything to deserve that. This movie really is about unwanted attention. It's about fame that not only is unwanted but unearned. It just exists. And that is kind of the main focus of this story, is he goes from thinking he wants all this attention to realizing he doesn't want it. And a big part of that, truthfully, is because things start to go bad. But even before they do, he starts to get uncomfortable with all the attention he's getting. Now, when I say things go bad, they start slowly. At first, like I said, somebody breaks into his house. It's a very uncomfortable situation, but he's still pretty much beloved by everybody. The other thing is he starts getting manipulated by companies into trying to use him as a marketing ploy. He's not a big fan of that. People do love him, or at least the idea of him, but they don't take him seriously or care about his own desires or what he wants to actually do or say. And lastly, because of the attention, he allows himself to be persuaded into having an affair on his wife. All of these things have occurred before things start to get really bad, and they're still pretty bad. So there's mostly good things, but some bad things happening. But then everything starts to turn bad, and that's when people start having the bad dreams about him, where he's not just a bystander, now he is the antagonist in the dreams. Now, all of a sudden, everybody hates him. He's still got all of the attention, all of the fame, but instead of the love and adoration, now it's all hatred and fear. So what does that mean? What is that trying to say? What are we talking about? Well, I think it's what it's like to be famous, especially nowadays in the social media era. A lot of people that end up being famous aren't necessarily asking for it, and even if they're asking for the attention, they don't know what they're asking for, and people are just throwing stuff up online and they go viral and you get all this attention, and that comes with a lot of good things. There's a lot of positives, but it comes with a lot of bad things too. This movie does make it as blatantly obvious as referencing cancel culture by name, but it is more than just that. It is the public perception, the public eye in general, and how finicky people's opinions are. Paul says in the movie that he is frustrated because he's getting canceled, he's getting hated for something he didn't even do. It's the idea of him that they now hate. But that is oftentimes how people's opinions work. The court of public opinion is very finicky. People decide together that they love something and decide together that they hate something. And it's not because they actually know the person, it's because they've got an idea of the person. And that brings me to my main observation that I haven't really heard anybody else talk about, and it's that only the people that don't really know him all that well seem to be dreaming about him. The main people that don't dream about him in this movie are his wife. His wife doesn't dream about him until the end, and I'll get to that. His boss doesn't dream about him. His old friend from college doesn't dream about him. Now, one of the biggest exceptions to that is that his daughter does dream about him, but I think that's more telling about their relationship than about my theory. I think that shows that there isn't a strong relationship between him and his daughter. And frankly, there often isn't between an adult and a young child. There can't be a strong relationship because the child doesn't really know the parent because they don't have a full understanding of who their parents are yet at such a young age. So all of the people who really know him don't have these dreams because they know the real him, and their opinion of him wouldn't be persuaded by some dream. Much like people who know celebrities aren't concerned with what they read in the tabloids about their friends because they're friends with them. They already know them. They already know what's going on every day, so they don't care about the gossip. They're not worried about the public opinion so much of their friend. Granted, I mean, they of course care about what people think, but they know better than anybody else because they actually know the person. If you've seen the movie, you already know that the last dream scenario we get is he's finally in the dream of his wife using the aid of this product that has been released. Now that we know dreams are interlinked, they create this product to mainly advertise, but also to help people get into other people's dreams. And he uses that to get into his wife's dream to portray himself as the hero. And that's the first time and only time that we see that he's portrayed as a hero in any of these dreams. And like I said, he wasn't in his wife's dreams up until this point. But you see with his ex-girlfriend, she dreamed about him, but there was a gap there. She hadn't seen him in years. And now that he's become estranged from his wife, now there's room for this public perception, this dream, to get in there and construct a view of him in her mind's eye. Now that she no longer lives with him, there's a separation. She's more easily persuaded and see an idealized version of him because she's not seeing him every day. We also see in this movie that Paul is a biologist, and he's teaching class on basic evolution in nature, on how it defends itself. And the main thing that nature does to defend itself is to make itself unnoticeable. When making his point, he references zebras. Now, zebras don't have a good camouflage for nature. They look nothing like anything in nature except for themselves. But that's a great thing because when the zebras stand close together to a predator, it looks like they're all just one massive zebra. You don't see the individual zebras, you see the herd, and that is why they are colored the way they are, so that they look stronger together. A bad thing in nature is to stand out, because then the predator can pick you out of the herd, pick you apart, take you, and kill you. They do, however, mention that there is one time it's a good thing in nature to stand out. It's when you're trying to attract a mate so that you can procreate. And that is something that is referenced when he is able to get these young women that all of a sudden now want to have sex with him, but now he also is a target. And that is when people try to kill him. They write graffiti on his car. Standing out is a bad thing in all of nature, yet for some reason humans want to stand out. It's probably for the sex appeal thing, but beyond that, there's not much of a reason to do it. We just don't want to be quote-unquote normal. Everybody's afraid of being normal, being forgettable, being just an every person, being a normal person. And that is Paul's fear, is he is terrified of just being a normal person. He wants to be remembered. He wants to be published like everybody else he knows. He wants to have success, and he wants to stand out. But once he does stand out, once he has something that gets him fame and attention, he realizes that that's not actually what he wants. You see him have this flashback to his wife. Even when he's signing these books for these people in the basement of this bookshop, he's just thinking about his wife that has now left him. He just wants to be with her. He just wants his family back, because maybe being normal, maybe being forgettable isn't so bad after all. We shouldn't try so hard to be rich and famous and do all of these things. We should just embrace the anonymity. That's not a word. Anonymity. Being anonymous. But now it's too late. He's lost everything. His life is completely different now, whether he likes it or not. It's not necessarily like he asked for it. He never asked to be in everybody's dreams. That made him uncomfortable from the get-go, but he kind of did like it, because all this time he was asking for recognition. He was asking for fame and power and to be appreciated, because he never felt like he was. This whole movie, he's very desperate to get people's approval. Even when he's in these dreams, he's insulted because their view of him in the dreams isn't great. And even though it's not bad, he wants it to be good. So to tie everything together, what this movie is about really is it's a warning. Don't try to be famous. Don't try to stand out. Don't try to be different or memorable or any of those things, because it's not worth it. Just live your life. Just be you and be content with what you have. But if for whatever reason you do get big and famous and have people's views of you dramatically affect your life, you can also take comfort in the fact that people will still forget anyway, because at the end of this movie, nobody's really thinking about him that much after all. He gets really famous, and then it kind of dies down. It seemed like his world was ending with all the rage and attacks that he was getting, and then people kind of forgot about it. And it's just like anything else on social media. Who really cares much about Shane Dawson? Remember how much everybody hated him for a while? People kind of forgot about it, and that's how it always is. All of these minor celebrities, these fads that come and go, people are just using them to distract them or to fuel some sort of fire or whatever, and then once it's gone, it's on to the next thing. And I think that really is a good point, the social media thing. When you think about his introduction, he is just merely there. And it's kind of how we view celebrities on TikTok or YouTube or whatever. There's these horrible, terrible things. Every dream that he's in is a nightmare. People dying, people being attacked, people in car crashes, all of these terrible things are happening, and he's just there. And people love him not because he's saving them, not because he's doing anything to help them. He's just kind of there. And that's how it feels kind of in this world, where it feels like the world's on fire. It feels like we're all going to hell in a handbasket, but then we've got these celebrities to look at. And it's a nice distraction until the celebrities become a reflection of that evil, disgusting world around them. If they do something we don't like, now that we've been putting all our attention on them, they become the worst possible thing. They become the worst part of us. And so we attack them. And it doesn't even really matter if they actually did anything or not. It's just the public perception of them. We use them as a distraction and we hate them when it's convenient. That's just the life of somebody in the limelight, in the public eye. Another reason why you should just avoid it. People's perceptions are rarely accurate and very finicky. They dramatically change moment to moment and then they're gone. So don't worry about it. It's fine to be forgettable. It's fine to be normal. It's fine to just be a person, because if you spend all your time trying to get this approval and worrying about everybody's opinion of you, then just like he had a dream of himself murdering him, your opinions will reflect everybody else's opinions. If you really care so much about everybody else's opinion of you, their opinions will define your opinion of yourself. If you let yourself get super high when everybody tells you you're great, you'll get super low when everybody tells you you're not. So just like that, Paul has that dream where he attacks himself. And so he filmed a really shitty apology video, because that's what influencers do when they're confronted with really bad opinions of them. So anyway, that's what I think. I know it's kind of subjective. It's a lot of interpretation, but that's what I thought when I saw this movie. That's how I took it. What did you think though? Let me know if you've seen it, what you thought. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're new here. Thanks guys. Bye.